following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi everybody and welcome to Vibrant Living. I'm Dr. Lisa. Today we're going to be making shrimp, arugula, and tomato. Doesn't that sound delicious? But first off, I'd like to thank GM Roth for the use of this beautiful kitchen here today. And I'd also like to start off by pouring me a glass of Poland spring water. You guys know that we have to stay hydrated while we're cooking. And always reminding you to drink as much water as possible, half your body weight in ounces per day. So remember to stay hydrated. What we're going to start off by doing today is I'm going to just kind of explain a little bit about the ingredients that we have for our dish. Now our dish is used primarily as an appetizer since it's going to be on ciabatta bread, but it can also be used as a side dish if you like for a nice luncheon. That would work really well. I'd like to just share with you a little bit of my recent things that I've been up to. And as you know, I am a chiropractor and always interested in keeping the body healthy. When there's a lot of interference in the body, if the immune system's suppressed, then you're not going to be healthy. So one of the ways to keep yourself healthy, other than getting regular adjustments, is to make sure that you are feeding your body, not just filling it. You want to fuel your body. So on one of my recent trips, I just returned from California. I went to a winery slash olive oil facility in Temecula, California, and I brought back some olive oil, all different types of flavors from Villa de Calabro. And the one that I'm going to use today is going to be the garlic infused olive oil, and I haven't opened it. It just actually got off the plane with me the other day. And they have a lot of other different olive oils too that you can incorporate into dishes that you're preparing. There's a scallion, there's a rosemary, basil. There's also oregano and sun-dried tomato as well. So a nice little gift that I brought back to myself for the kitchen. So what we're going to do is use this with our dish today. We're also going to be incorporating some white wine, and I chose Pinot Grigio. We also have some Roma tomatoes. Now this dish is going to actually hold up rather nicely with the Roma tomatoes because they're a little bit tougher and a little bit thicker skin, so they won't be as juicy or drippy as we will be holding our bread and kind of taking a bite. So that way kind of things will stick together. We're also incorporating some garlic, some fresh chopped garlic, some scallions. We're also going to incorporate tarragon. Now tarragon is probably, you're familiar with it through béarnaise sauce. So béarnaise sauce has a lot of this tarragon in it, and it grows where there's little water and smells delicious. It was even known in the medieval periods that when people were going to go on pilgrimages, traveling long distances, they would put this in their shoes to give them energy for the trip. So a little highlight and a little tidbit of history with tarragon. We're also going to incorporate arugula. Now arugula is part of the radish family and the mustard green family. It's also very low in calories. It can be actually used in pesto. You can make pesto with it. It's also high in vitamin A, folate, and calcium and magnesium. So this dish is going to be incorporated again with tons of nutrients and ingredients, but minimal ingredients and a one-pot deal today. So we're also going to incorporate some mascarpone cheese and a little bit of organic chicken broth. So remember to choose, if you can, organic products as much as possible. And the reason I say that is because a lot of ingredients are laden with pesticides, and you don't want that to alter your body's chemistry when you're eating it, leading to laying a foundation for sickness down the road. So as much as possible, farm-grown, organic ingredients are always the best to choose. So we have some ciabatta bread. And what I'm going to do is just slice it up a little bit and get this in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes, just to kind of golden it up a little bit for us. And we're going to cut it kind of straight across. Now, a lot of times, you've probably heard recently too about gluten and how gluten is not good for you, and how some people are gluten sensitive. And just so you know that gluten is a protein, and in that protein there's a certain other type of ingredient called glutenin. And the glutenin acts like a glue to hold the flour when it's mixed with water to make your bread. So what ends up happening is because it's a foreign material to your body, it actually causes your immune system to be suppressed because your body sees it as something that's bad for it. And so people can have intestinal flare-ups from too much gluten. And about 80% of people are gluten intolerant but don't even know it. So you may not have a symptom, but I highly recommend using gluten-free breads, pastas as much as possible. Even if you think you're okay with regular pasta, just give your immune system and your digestive tract just a little bit of a break. Okay, so here we go. Couple more slices. We have some hungry crew here today, right? Okay. So we're going to arrange this on this platter, on our cookie sheet. And put it in the 400-degree oven. Okay, so our bread is in the oven. Let's get started. Okay, let's turn on, here we go. Let's turn on our flame here. Got a good flame going. It's a little high. Okay, so we're going to get our pot nice and hot. And I'm going to start by opening up our olive oil. So this is garlic infused from Temecula, California, all the way from the West Coast over here to the East Coast. Okay, so this is going to add extra flavor. You guys know how much I like garlic. Love, love, love it. Okay, so we're just going to add some olive oil. Beautiful, kind of coat the bottom. Actually, we're using just about one bottle here. That works for me. So we have a lot of sauteing to do. Okay, and next what we're going to do is add our garlic and our shallots as our pan is warming up. I'm going to do one more shallot, do a half of one. Okay. I can hear the olive oil sizzling already. Delicious. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our shallots and our garlic. Now we're also incorporating shrimp in this dish. And what I've done is I've purchased some deveined shrimp. So that way we don't have to worry about cleaning that up. So I'm going to grab some of this shrimp over here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rinse off the shrimp if it's frozen. Kind of help it defrost just a little bit. Give it a little bit of a shake here. Good. And I'm actually going to cut off the tails of the shrimp. Let's change knives out here. And I can hear a good sizzle over here, so we're doing great with our shallots and our garlic. So I'm just going to cut off the tails here so we can have some nice bite-sized pieces since we're going to be holding the appetizer. And this is a really beautiful dish. Once it's done, you're going to see how pretty it is. It adds a nice little elegant touch to maybe a wine and cheese get together with this as an appetizer. Your guests will love it. All right, we're getting there. All right, let's see what we have here. Smells great. Everything's sauteing nicely here. Now we don't want our garlic to burn, so this is a crucial time where you kind of stir things up a little bit. Nobody likes burnt garlic on their dishes, but this olive oil is really saturating the scallions and the other garlic nicely. So this is perfect. And I'm just going to give a rough chop to the shrimp. And I bought actually pre-cooked shrimp, so that way this dish will actually go a little bit quicker too. And I can't wait for you to try it. So a nice rough chop to that. Let's do a few more here. And again, a rough chop. They're still a teeny bit frozen, but that's okay because once it hits the heat, it's just gonna defrost rather quickly. So perfect. Okay, so let's give a quick stir again. And in goes the shrimp. That's pretty. You know what? There's only 3 left, so let's use them. All right. Beautiful. All right, quick wipe of our hands over here. All right, so let's do this. Kind of stir it up a little bit. Okay, that is cooking nicely. Now, if you'd like at this stage, you can actually add the cover to it a little bit, kind of let it steam up while we chop up our tomatoes. Now, I mentioned we're going to be using Roma tomatoes, and we're doing that because they hold up nicely for this dish, so when you're taking a bite, it doesn't go all over the place. However, I did bring along a couple of vine-ripe tomatoes because they're my favorite. They're juicy, they're pretty red as you can see here. And I'll probably just add one just to kind of go against the idea, right? Because it's actually going to add a nice sweetness to the dish too. So you probably use about 6 Roma tomatoes. I'm actually going to use 5 and then save the last spot for the vine-ripe tomato. Okay, here we go. Beautiful, and here's our vine-ripe tomato. Cut that in half and give that a rough chop too. I love tomatoes. My mom had a big garden with tons of tomatoes in it. Every summer, I think I've mentioned that on a show before, and I love tomatoes. Okay, so let's take our lid off. Ooh, that looks delicious, smells delicious. Perfect temperature. You can see this in here, it's absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna add our tomatoes in all of their natural juices. Here we go. Again, just minimal ingredients, but fantastic flavor. And fresh, I love fresh. All right, that looks fabulous too. Okay. So we're gonna give that a nice stir. And what we want to happen is we want the tomatoes to kind of soften up and to reduce down a bit. So we're gonna put a lid on it and let it cook a little bit longer. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna wipe off my chopping board. give it a quick little rinse here. Wipe that off. And we're going to chop up our tarragon. Here we go. So we're going to kind of gently pull it off the stem. Now, you can add as much of this as you want or as little, but it does add a beautiful flavor. Sometimes people think it has like a peppery taste to it. And again, it grows in areas where there's little water retention. Kind of an interesting tidbit. There we go. I love the flavor, so I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm also going to give a quick check to our bread and see how that's toasting up. Here we go. So we'll use about that much. That works for me. And we're just going to give it a nice little rough chop right here. Perfect. All right, so we're going to let that sit here. Oh, it smells delicious. Oh, our tomatoes are softening up fantastically. You guys are going to love this. Okay, so at this point, let me check on our bread. Our bread looks great. It's a little bit longer. We're going to take this time to add some organic sea salt. This will also help the tomatoes release their amazing juices. We're going to do a little bit of organic peppercorn. And add, as much as you like. Smells delicious. And we're going to add our tarragon in here. Ooh, the dish is looking so pretty. It smells amazing. Now, we're also going to incorporate some of our white wine, our Pinot Grigio, just to take it to the next level of elegance. How's that? Reducing absolutely beautifully. So we're going to open this up. Let's see here. Probably should have had this open. There we go. So we're going to add about 1/4 cup of that right into our beautiful dish. We're just kind of eyeballing it. It's all going to reduce down anyway. Oh, it smells delicious when you add a little bit of the wine. We're also going to add a little bit of organic chicken broth for flavor. Again, about 1/4 cup will do it. Perfect. All right, the next step we have is just give it a little stir here. And let's bring up our heat just a little bit to try to get some of our liquids to reduce down a little bit. There we go. All right, so the last step is coming up, well, second to last step. We're going to add some of our arugula right in here. A couple big handfuls of it. Give that a stir. This is a really pretty dish, really delicious. It's reducing down nicely after we turned up our heat just a little bit. So incorporate all that in here. The nice tender leaves of the arugula, a little bit of a peppery taste to it naturally. Again, part of the watercress radish family. And it's reducing down. Let's add a little bit more. There we go. Whoop. There we go. All right, so our dish is almost coming to the end. It wasn't that quick. It really was. And wait till you taste this. Out of this world. So it's shrimp, arugula, and tomato. So let's all that incorporate before we add the last wonderful ingredient. And I'm going to check and take out our bread. Here we go. So our bread looks nice and crispy, perfect. Just gonna let that sit there for a moment. Give a last little stir. And we're gonna add the primo ingredient, mascarpone cheese. So that's like an Italian cream cheese that's actually gonna make the dish extremely velvety. You are gonna love it. You can buy it at pretty much any grocery store, kind of near where the cheese section is. And we're gonna just scoop out a little bit of it and incorporate it in. It's gonna add a nice creaminess to it, make it silky and velvety. Ooh, yum. Let's add just a teeny bit more. And there we go. Excellent. Now we're going to just stir the rest of our mascarpone cheese in here. And this looks absolutely amazing and smells even better. Trust me, your home is going to smell so wonderful. Okay, so our dish is done. So what I'm going to do is just take some of our bread. Now our bread is going to be really crunchy on the outside, but nice, soft, and chewy on the inside. I'm actually going to add a little bit more garlic and kind of just rub it on the bread. Kind of scrape it on here, add a little bit more flavor. Here's one. Ooh, this is wonderful. I really can't wait for you guys to try this. It's one of our favorite snacks. Let's do one more. Okay. So now what we're going to do is use a slotted spoon, and we're going to start to build our dish. So we're going to add that on, a little bit of the shrimp. Here we go. Make sure everyone gets a nice couple pieces of shrimp on here. And the juices from this dish are going to just kind of seep through the bread and kind of make it nice and soft and chewy. There's one. Let's just shut this off now. This is actually really nice and hot. You know, you could actually even put this over like a gluten-free pasta as well as your sauce. Beautiful. And the longer you let it sit there, it's absolutely going to just absorb all of those liquids. Now, it might be a little bit tricky to eat, but trust me, you will not regret taking that bite. And the ingredients are so beautiful. They're so pretty. They're so fresh. Not laden with any sugary sauces or anything. Yum. Here we go. Beautiful. And here we have it. Shrimp with arugula and tomato. Thank you for joining me here today at Vibrant Living. Remember, it's your life. Choose to live a vibrant life. Thank you.
The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.